Thanks a lot, Dr. Nair. I really, really appreciate that you are here with me today. And, you know, I, uh, I mean, this lockdown, for one, good evening, Dr. Nair. It's great to see you. And it's
Good evening.
one thing. I mean, I just heard you speak an hour ago, and you were in like a doctor's suit from your clinic.
Yeah,
And then an hour later, you're in another. I mean, I have so much respect for what you do and the doctor's profession, and more so these days when people are so helpless with their health. I have really found a new respect. I always had respect for your profession, but like a really appreciation, a real gratitude for doctors around and doctors in this country, especially with. But today we're not here to discuss the pandemic. You meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of people all day. We are meeting people, not meeting, interacting with people. I mean, right? So we interact with a lot of people. Now you interact. Most of the people we both interact are uh, interested in health. I mean, you interact with people who are sick and want to get their health back. I interact with people who do not want to get sick, right? And my goal actually is to keep them away from you. I tell them, stay away from the doctors. They're very busy, with the sick people. So try not to get sick. So we give the doctors a break. But I really say that, I mean, I know you see about, I don't know the statistics, but at least 15 to 20 patients a day. And you deal with patients with grave illnesses of the brain like dementia, Parkinson, strokes, and it is so complex. But a lot of times I hear you speak on health, and one thing you say is these diseases are preventable. I mean, a lot of disease are preventable. So, I mean, I get to my first question. I mean, this is just a 20-minute session. You've had a long day, so I won't take more than 20 minutes. But I jump right straight into the first question. It's like you see so many sick patients, and most of them, by the time they come to you, they're gravely sick. Being a neurologist, they have really you see patients who have serious problems with their mental health or with their but a lot of them also have the common lifestyle diseases like diabetes and blood pressure and thyroid and all sorts of and I just don't know whether I'm hearing it more these days or the numbers have gone up these days. But you've been in private practice for many, many years. So you would know the statistics better than any one of us. So can you help us understand, is this number of sicknesses growing, or we're just finding out now? Or what is your opinion?
I think it's a very relevant question, Pramilla. But first of all, thank you very much for having me here on this conversation with you, because I have learned almost everything in terms of practical wisdom about wellness, actually applying it on a day-to-day basis. From you, I've implemented those tips in my own life. And no, seriously, I really owe it to you. And I will have a question for you when I finish this answer, the answer to the question that you've asked me. So let's look at where we are at. India is India is the youngest country on the face of the earth right now, but we are also the sickest country on the face of the earth. Now, a lot of people, outside of the medical profession that I encounter, people seem to think that India's sickness is about infections, about malaria, about tuberculosis. Yes, we do have a lot of infections in our country. Right now, we're in the midst of a pandemic. But the biggest burden of public health problems is not communicable disease, it's lifestyle disease. And answer to your question, we are being faced with a tsunami of lifestyle diseases. I'll give you some numbers. We are home to about 14% of the world's population, but we have almost 28% or more of the diabetics in the world, which means it's a double burden, for the percentage that we have as a share of the world population. A similar story for high blood pressure. We are the heart attack capital of the world, the stroke capital, the cancer capital. In fact, it's scary. An average Indian suffers a heart attack almost 2 decades before his counterpart in the West. So, these are numbers that tell us that the state of public health, especially non-communicable disease in our country, is shocking. It's frightening, really. Now, we have some very interesting statistics from the World Health Organization. Second to high blood pressure and diabetes, a deficient intake of fresh fruit and vegetables is the third most common cause of preventable morbidity and mortality in our country. So what I'm trying to say here is that we are a young country, we are a sick country. What is the problem? So, if you look at, you pointed out to the kind of practice that I have, I see terrible diseases that do not have a cure, but which can be prevented. And that is the reason why, when I started my career in neurology, I really got interested in what I could do, first of all, at a personal level for myself. And then after I understood the principles, I discuss this with every one of my patients. I encourage them to exercise, which is very, very important. But I think the biggest bulk, if you ask me, of the one thing that you can really change in order to, enhance one's health and prevent all of these terrible diseases that I just spoke about, that I see in my practice, it is nutritional optimization. And what is it that one needs to do about nutritional optimization? See, I don't want to make things very complicated. I've learned from you, Pramilla, that it's important to do small daily disciplines. Do what you can do, and make it really simple. So I'll break it down into this. We Indians culturally do not consume enough protein, right? We have a lot of carbs in our diet, a lot of grains, a lot of cereals, a lot of dal, and people seem to think of fruit as healthy. It is healthy, but within a certain limit, and I'll explain how in a little bit. But the problem is we have very little protein in our diet, good quality protein in our diet. Our diet is very lacking in the good quality fat, like the omega-3 fatty acids that we need for brain health and cardiac health. And of course, our diet is deficient in phytonutrients and antioxidants. So this is where the nutritional gap comes in, and that's what one really needs to do to correct this big problem of lifestyle diseases that we are faced with. Which then brings me to the question that I would like to ask of you. I've been following you on Insta. I look at all those amazing tips that you tell us, those of us who are following you, and I look at you, doing this absolutely phenomenal thing with fresh vegetables, colors on your plate, colors. You speak about colors, and actually that's very, very powerful, because 5 different colors, on the plate is what the World Health Organization recommends. So it's almost like, I have this, whenever I have something in front of me, I'm almost like, oh, do I have all the colors that Pramila talks about? Yeah. So tell me, you're a busy person. You have 2 young kids at home. It's difficult to get children to eat right. And I have seen your children pretty much happily eat right a lot of the time. What is it that you do? What are the small daily disciplines that you do to ensure that your plates are so colorful and so nutritious and so good for the family?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's the daily. I mean, I don't show Insta post or my cooking to put up a show on Insta. What I do at home, we eat that same food. It's not like a post. We eat that same food. And I'm a firm believer of do what you can do, even if it's small, on an everyday basis. I mean, someone will say, I cannot get a certain type of vegetable, I cannot afford it. Then eat what you can afford. There are plenty of colors in the local vegetables, in Indian vegetables. If that's what you prefer, do that. Now, what sometimes the things I do, a typical person could not relate to. But those are the things that are good for my family, right? So whatever you can do, whatever your family likes, your children like, in terms of fruit and vegetables. So some of the things I do is to make it exciting. For kids especially, you have to make it exciting. If I give them a boring apple every day, and they're going to resist it. But when I give them a different color fruit, and I put some cinnamon powder, some coconut, and just kind of, and sometimes what I do is I say, make your own breakfast. And that's very exciting to 11-year-olds, or 8-year-olds. So, and then I let them put their own sugar. But these are the small things. The big things are that they're doing it every day. They see me eat it every day. The important thing, I tell the adults, you do the right things, and your children will follow to do the right things,
Wow.
right? And that is how I believe I can impact the next generation. I mean, I may not have a worldwide impact, but if I can impact the lives of two of my children and their future and their, adulthood and their children, then I have fulfilled my purpose in for my existence at least, and I'm grateful that I have an impact in your life too, but it's the everyday small things. It seems small and insignificant, but it is big when you put it all together. So when I have consultations for weight loss, and I encourage my clients to send me a plate filled with, I want to see 5 colors on your plate. And sometimes it's the color of the white rice. It doesn't matter, right? The effort of putting 5 colors on your plate is you start to think right about food, right? And everything starts with thinking. When I look at my plate, I mean, I hear this all the time. Somebody sends me a colorful plate and say, I heard this voice in my kitchen, colors, colors, colors. And I keep saying it to myself when I'm cooking or making a dish, or I say, colors, colors, let's have colors today. Because, like, as a doctor, there is nutrition in colors, which I will quickly go to my next question. You see the way I eat, and a lot of times, I think you give me a lot of likes and a lot of claps. It means a lot to me when high profile doctors like you appreciate what I do. But and you still said to me once, that you eat a lot of fruit and vegetable, and I know that you are so focused on fiber rich foods, and but it's still not enough, and it is shocking to some people. I have come to that realization that it's not enough. I speak to people who want to have a good diet, and they say, why can't I get everything from my foods? Why my grandparents, my parents ate everything from food. They got everything from foods, right? And I believe in supplementation. Of course, when I say supplementation, like you, I believe in organically grown supplements, the organically grown fruit and vegetables, and the supplements made, minerals and vitamins made from them. So they are natural supplements that actually bridge the gap in what I should take and what I do take on a daily basis. So, having said that, I'm very aware that I cannot get enough from my foods. Now, as a doctor, you can tell us, like, why? I mean, you meet so many patients, and most people kind of run to the doctor when they get a report that says vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B deficiency, or vitamin, uh, you know, whatever,
Ones, B12 and D are the ones that everyone is deficient.
B12 and D, right? And it kind of, or iron deficiency for many women, and that's when they expect to take a supplement for a short period of time till the next tests come up to the mark. And they think, I mean, most people think that that should be enough. And I probably came from that thinking too, till I had to read about it. I associated with people like you, and I got my thinking right. Could you please help our viewers to understand the role of supplementation, why food is not enough, what kind of supplementation you take as a doctor?
Great question, Pramilla. See, I like to talk about in an ideal world. We are not in an ideal world, by the way. In an ideal world, the food we eat would be sufficient for our nutritional requirements. But let's look at what's happened to the way we live, especially when I have people tell me that, oh, my grandfather lived to be 90 and, he never went to the doctors or whatever. Our grandparents lived in an environment which had much less pollution or no pollution. They ate really organic food, which they grew in their own front yards, backyards, whatever, call it what you will. They, consumed it immediately after it was, harvested from the fields. And all of these things, they had very little stress. They were, it was a much less complicated life that they had 50 or 100 years ago. And if you look at what they ate, and we try to eat the same thing and expect to live our modern day lives exposed to all kinds of pollution, air pollution, light pollution, noise pollution, the psychological burden of living in a big city like Mumbai, the stress, the fast-paced life, and lack of exercise. I can just list a whole plethora of conditions that we are faced with. So there is a demand supply gap. Now, the demand for nutrition, because of the environment that we live in, the toxic environment that we live in, the kind of demands that we have, I mean, there was a position paper from the World Health Organization predicting that we're going to see the emergence of new viruses, and we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic. When I went to medical school, the coronavirus, which is causing the pandemic, merited hardly half a page description in our textbooks because it was considered an agent that would not bother you at all in your lifetime, and at best it would cause a common cold. And today we have people dying. So the world is changing. So really, if we were to try and meet our nutritional requirements using principles that our grandparents used, I think we're kind of not doing the right thing. So the demand is so much more higher. And let's look at the supply, the food that we eat. I mean, an orange or an apple that looks like an orange or an apple today, well, maybe tastes like one. But if you look at the phytonutrients, the antioxidants that these fruits and vegetables are supposed to have, they don't have it anymore. Why? Because you grow a lot of genetically modified foods, you chemically fertilize them, you preserve them, you fly them across continents. It's very nice to have kiwi from New Zealand, but it's flown several hours and it's lost all its nutritional value. So if one were to try to get everything that one needs from food, we are looking at decreased supply, and we are also faced with an increased demand. And because of that, we have this gap. And the result of that nutritional gap is the tsunami of lifestyle diseases I just spoke about. So, well, I am a firm believer in supplementation. And of course, the question that everyone likes to ask is which supplement? Well, the principle is that the supplement should be food. It can't be chemical supplements. I mean, chemical supplements are popular because they're cheaper, they have a longer shelf life, but chemical supplements represent a toxic load. For example, chemical calcium, which is something which is very freely available, can cause kidney stones. And every one of the chemical supplements, is being a chemical compound, needs to be detoxified by the liver and the kidney. So there's an additional burden there. But organic source supplements, basically nutrients from food taken and put into an organic supplement is the way to go, because that is maximally assimilated by the body. It poses absolutely no toxic load to the liver and to the kidney. You cannot overdose on organic supplements, right? Because it's just food. You can't overdose on the good things in food ever. So that's how I would look at supplementation. So my answer to your question would be, we have to supplement because of the demand supply gap. And if we are going to supplement, we have to use high quality supplements which actually represent food the way it used to be 50 to 100 years ago, if we are to enjoy the longevity that our grandparents had because of whatever genetic makeup they had. But in today's time and age, we just cannot rely on that and good faith and hope to have that happen. Which then brings me to a question I was waiting to ask of you. I have looked at some of the amazing things you've been speaking about. You've spoken about detox and gut health, and you've spoken about an absolutely fantastic weight management program. I have used both of these for myself and for my family. My mother is 75 years old. In November of last year, she was almost 18 kgs overweight. And on the BK45 program, she's lost about 13.5 kgs.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
possible for people to believe that a 75-year-old can, of course, she's very, very disciplined. She follows instructions to the T. She has absolutely no complaints. But yes, the fact is the principles that we learned from you, the principles of supplementation, that's BK45. It's transformed my life. It's transformed my family's life. And similarly with detox, tell us a little bit about how you came upon the idea of doing detox. Why did you think it is so important to get good gut health, and why do you think the need of the hour is to address have a weight management program that addresses visceral fat?
Yes, I'm passionate about these two programs because it gives tremendous results, and I've seen over and over again. Now, speaking of gut health, like you as a doctor, you know the importance of gut health. In fact, I heard you speak once about they have linked a lot of neurological problems to gut health. That was new to me. But I always believe that we are not giving enough attention to our guts. And as a nation, we are a vegetarian nation, but we eat less of the fiber rich foods. Now, I was reading an article, and America, less than 3% of people, of the population, actually has enough fiber in their day, less than 3%. India is a little bit higher because we are a vegetarian nation, but nearly, I mean, not nearly enough. So when I designed the BK45 weight management program or the detox program, the central idea is not so much to diet or to lose weight, or to, that is all a consequence of the program, right? But the central idea of these two programs, especially the detox, is to give the gut and the liver a break, you
Wow.
know, and to kind of repair the gut or the liver, if I can use it, the layman term, repair it and give it foods that actually, I mean, people do a 4-day detox. My clients do a 4-day detox, and I hear things like, I've never felt so light, I've never felt so easy. I mean, there's no indigestion, my acidity has disappeared. And these are just consequences of focusing on gut health. And my other passion is eradicating visceral fat. I did that first for myself. I'm a mother of 2 children. And like every woman, I got a little mummy pouch after giving birth to the children, right? And that bothered me. And I understood from you several times, I heard you speak, that even if you have half a kilo of visceral fat around your tummy, you're at a risk. So I did this program, the BK45 program, which is basically targeted to getting rid of visceral fat, around the tummy, right? uh, and I got rid of my little tummy, right, in 3 weeks, because I didn't really need. But this program, what I mean, you've told me that yourself, and I know you research everything, and it's great to be like that. We laymen can get a break when you do all the research, but you researched it, and you found in yourself and in your mom that the the program works beautifully, because you lose fat but you don't lose muscle mass, right?
Gain
And
muscle.
I mean, you gain muscle mass,
Yeah.
correct? Right? I personally gained 1.5 kilos of muscle mass when I did the program. So the key is to gain muscle mass, or to keep your muscle mass at par, and to lose excess fat, right? Around the waist, especially. So without kind of dieting, or without like somebody asked me today, how long do I have to eat vegetables, because I emphasize on 5 colors. And I have had a review session for a weight loss client today, and she asked me how long. So I said, if you look at your plate today while you're on my program as a temporary solution for just losing 10 kilos in 40, or 8 kilos or 6 kilos in 45 days, then you're in big trouble. You have to look at this as a change in lifestyle. It doesn't mean it has to be boring, right? But the principles have to be, you have to look at your plate and say, this is part of my life for a long, long time, because I want good health. I don't want treatment for disease. I want good health, right? So I'm a firm believer of, I cannot kind of make I cannot say how long I can live or I must live. I cannot determine the longevity of my life, but I can definitely be in control of, as long as I live, I can live a medicine-free life, an active life, a medicine-free life with a little bit of exercise. I mean, 10 minutes of walking a day is a good start for anyone, to prevent lifestyle diseases. And eating simple vegetables every single day. You may skip some days. I know the festive season is coming right now, but this is not about a season. This is about the everyday life. So, I am so grateful that we have Dr. Nair with us today. And, just to kind of, end this conversation, I mean, can you give us like 2 or 3 tips on how to maintain, in your opinion, how to maintain optimum health? Because I know, as I know you, you personally a little bit, I know you professionally a little bit, that you are in optimum health at your age. So can you help our viewers to understand a few tips how we can attain that optimum health?
Great. That's one of the best certificates I've had in a very, very long time from a person who's super fit herself. So completely thanks to Detox, the Detox program and the BK45, I have a metabolic age, which is 25 years less than my chronological age. Yeah, and that's completely thanks to BK45 and Detox, which I've religiously followed. But well, the answer to the question that you just posed is, I talk about 4 pillars of wellness. Exercise that you just spoke about, super important, 45 minutes to 1 hour a day, preferably in the morning. We start, for a person who's not exercised ever in his or her life, what you said is absolutely true. You can just start moving 10 minutes a day, keep pushing it a little bit, small daily disciplines, just show up every day. That's important. That's about exercise. The next big pillar is nutrition. And I think we've covered a lot of aspects of nutrition. We need to optimize our intake of protein, omega-3, fat, the good fat, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, colors on the plate, very, very important. The next important thing is rest. Adequate, good quality rest, 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And ideally from about 10:30 till about 5:36 in the morning. That's when the body needs rest. So when I have people come up and say that, oh, I do get 7 hours of sleep a day, but I don't feel rested. And I just ask them, most of the time they're sleeping very late. They're sleeping at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. for whatever reasons. It could be a work situation, it could be whatever else, it could be a recreation situation, and then they wake up very late. Your body is confused because in the morning when the body wants to wake up, you're sleeping, and at night when your body wants to sleep, you're awake. And so that's the other thing. That's the third pillar. And the fourth pillar is association. The kind of people you associate with, the power of association. If 6 of your closest associations are going to be people who are positive, who are expectant, have set a goal for themselves, who are working towards it, and are also healthy, exercise regularly, have sound moral principles and ethics, well, that's the kind of environment to be in. And that's the power of association. Even if you start off not being like them, when you're surrounded by 6 of these people who form the bubble of your influence, you get transformed and you get changed and you begin to look like them, think like them, and feel like them over a period of time. So, well, the short and sweet answer to your question: exercise, optimize nutrition, get adequate rest, and get the right associations in place. And the right association comes from reading amazing books like Grit by Angela Duckworth or Authentic Happiness by Seligman. I'm
Wow.
getting about this, cognitive fitness. I mean, there are so many amazing books. Listen to audios, amazing audios from people who have done significant things in their life, build successful businesses, discover fantastic things. So, and of course, meeting and being with the right kind of people, the right set of values. I think that's where you have the formula for optimum health.
Wow, so well put, doctor. I mean, 25 years younger than your age. The last time you were doing a webinar, 4 of us women were guessing your age on private chats, and no wonder we couldn't guess. But it's amazing. So simply put, it's so simple, yet it's so achievable, yet it's so doable. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Nair. I appreciate the Saturday evening. You've had a long day. Thanks a lot for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge with us, and your experience with us. And so much look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much, Pramilla, for having you on this call. On me on this call. This is absolutely fantastic. I always enjoy chatting with you, and I've learned a few things just talking to you today. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Just a note at the end. I'm putting up a super chia seed post on YouTube channel. It's an entire video, about 7 minute video. But chia seeds, everybody wants to eat chia seeds and they know the benefits. But I'm going to tell you how to eat it, how to buy it, how to, how much time to soak it, how much can you eat. So please get on my YouTube channel for that important chia seed post, right? Because I think it's an easy food. It's a superfood, but it's an easy food to buy and to eat. And it's really, really good for gut health. So I know that you're eating a lot of chia seeds at home too, Dr. Nair. So just end with that. And thank you so much, Dr. Nair, for being with us. And look forward to seeing you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.